Hey, what is up? It is Ross from Spiritual Phoenix Studios, and we are back with another tarot card review. So this week I have picked the Thoth Tarot. It's by Aleister Crowley. I'm not a big Crowley fan. This deck is one of the ones that came into my life a little bit later, but I really do enjoy the artwork, so I wanted to review this one next because I'm using this past week in my readings and stuff. So it happened to be out there, and I figured, what the hell? So we'll get right into it. Easy to use. This deck is easy to use, and the reason that I say that is a lot of the cards actually have names or like meanings underneath them in some capacity. The minor arcana specifically will tell you kind of what the card is about in some degree, and it's good in the sense for readers learning. But if you're trying to get a deck that is widely used, most decks are not built off of Aleister Crowley's interpretations, as far as I have seen. Most modern decks follow the Rider Smith weight system, or the Golden Order, Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. I don't know why I can't talk. A lot of them follow that. So, with that in mind, keep that in mind, I guess, is the main thing. Quality of the cards. This print of them is really good. I don't know if these are something to where they're in the Creative Commons where they can be printed by other people. I assume that this is owned by the Thelema Society, if they have such a thing. But yeah, the cards are good quality card stock. As I mentioned, some other companies, their card stock can be flimsy. These ones seems to hold up really well. Artwork and coloring, that is the thing that sold me on this deck. I'm not going to show you the cards that I've already picked, but the cards are astounding. Like, the artwork is really unique and interesting. The colors are vibrant. The images pop. It's incredibly memorable. And one of my friends had said that you could tell that the artist appeared to be really into the project. One of the things that I've noticed from, like, the Rider Smith weight deck is there's an air of exploitation in the deck itself, which is kind of what happened for Pamela Coleman Smith, and that doesn't appear to be present in this deck. I don't know if that's historically accurate or not. It could just be me believing some of my own bullshit, right? Anyhow, the mood of this deck is, in my estimation, I perceive it more as like a shadow working deck and a deck for digging deep within yourself. It's more desire driven. And that's really articulated in one of the ways that they interpreted one of the cards. Let me get that card. We'll get into the cards now, too. These are my top 5 cards, and this is even one of the top 5 that I had picked, and it's Lust. So this would be Strength in the Rider Smith weight system. And in their system, they have it more of intellect subduing the animal instinct. And here, this is intellect getting to ride on the animal instinct. It's not talking about sexual lust specifically. It's talking about desire in my interpretation of it. And when we look at that, that's what Crowley's magic was largely about, in my understanding. I'm not a big fan of his, like I said, but I do think that I've understood that aspect of his character well enough, that a lot of his strength was derived from quote unquote lust, lust of power, whatever you want to call it. But anyhow, I like the symbolism of that card. And another one that I really like is art. This would be Temperance in the Rider Smith weight system. And that's more so about like balance and moderation. But I like that it's art because it's also similarly to understanding that there is a positive use of lust. There's a positive use to some of the negative aspects that are portrayed in other systems, right? Crowley was big on, again, from my estimate, an understanding that we need to access some of the darker parts of our personalities to be whole individuals. And it doesn't mean that we have to be dark assholes or see ourselves as beasts like he did. But it means that we need to have an honest conversation and understand that maybe we're a little bit more complex than we like to think we are. The other card that I really appreciated was the Fool. And again, it's kind of that animal instinct that Crowley has tapped into. The Fool in this deck in particular has kind of like a demon head, and that is to symbolize more so Pan and more so tapping into like the nature spirit of things is how I would perceive it. And instead of having the little dog like you would see in Ryder Smith Waite, there's like a little lion that is straight up biting the dude. So he's getting bitten by the animal instinct. And this is sending him into a state of open-mindedness and new awareness. He can be receptive to new information. Like the artwork in this is incredibly potent. I really enjoy the Hanged Man in this. I like how they have the pentacles down below his head, where it's kind of like he had given up concern for the money. I like how there is this expansion of consciousness portrayed here. The Ankh for the symbol of eternal life. There's this sense of being suspended and looking at a different set of beliefs. I am fairly confident that if you look at all of these things, there would be some kind of link to the Tree of Life. There's a lot of stuff going on there, right? Actually, if I'm not mistaken, the Hangman too is even supposed to represent Odin hanging from the Tree of Life, so that's kind of represented there. And then lastly, I really enjoy the Devil card. Obviously, there's this phallic shape. I think that was, it's obvious, but it's not. And I think that that's interesting. And it's more so how, again, men are ruled by this primal instinct. And all of us are driven by these drives. But there's also the aspect of the original element of the devil that's kind of lost in other systems, which is the devil isn't about bad. The devil is about primal urges. And this is learning how to not fall. Part of the major arcana, or the process of the major arcana, is learning how not to fall prey to primal urges. I just like the interpretation of this card a lot. So that is my review of the Thoth Tarot. Would I recommend this for beginners? Probably not. So in some senses, like I had said, it is easy to use, but overall, I don't think that it's that well suited for beginners because it's kind of a closed system, and a lot of the other decks, like if you get Ryder Smith Waite, a lot of the other decks will make more sense to you later on. This one, I think, again, much like the other deck that I reviewed so far, it's better to come to this later on in your practice when you understand that some decks have different symbols. Anyhow, all of that said, thank you so much for checking this out. I really hope that you enjoyed this review. If you did, drop a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff, and I will see you soon. Peace.